Meds is licensed in all 50 states to support your pet's wellness. We offer a comprehensive range of health solutions for every stage of life, from prescription medications to nutrition and supplements. Visit petmeds.com and use promo code WARRIORS for 30% off your entire order. PetMeds, empowering you to help your pets live longer, healthier lives.
The lights, the crowd, the moment. When the Warriors take the floor, greatness follows. At Cache Creek Casino Resort, every moment shines. Feel the rush as the reels spin. Breathe in our serene spa. Savor each bite in our award-winning steakhouse. And recharge in the comfort of our luxurious hotel. Cache Creek Casino Resort, proud partner of your Golden State Warriors. Please play responsibly.
This next one's for all you CarMax shoppers who just want to buy a car your way.
Want to check some cars out in person? Want to look some more from your house? Okay.
Want to pretend you know about engines?
Nah, I'll just chat with CarMax online instead.
Want to get pre-qualified from your couch? Woo! Want to get that car?
ASAP!
You want to do it your way.
Want to drive? CarMax.
Hey, Dub Nation! If you're traveling to cheer on the Warriors this season, then the most important thing to pack is the United Airlines app. You can track your bags, change your flight or your seat, get a personalized map of the airport terminal, even talk to a live customer service agent. It's like having a travel agent in the palm of your hand, for free. And yeah, that technically makes it a free agent. Download the United app and book your next trip today. United, proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors.
What do you think makes the perfect snack?
It's gotta be when I'm really craving it and it's convenient.
Could you be more specific?
When it's cravenient.
Okay.
Like a freshly baked cookie made with real butter, available right now in the street at AM/PM, or a savory breakfast sandwich I can grab in just a second at AM/PM.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Well, yeah, we're talking about what I crave.
Which is anything from AM/PM.
What more could you want?
Stop by AM/PM where the snacks and drinks are perfectly craveable and convenient. That's Cravenience. AM/PM, too much good stuff.
Say you're a coach in Chase Center and need to draw up a last-second play. Or you're a fan in Section 212 craving nachos. AI from Google Cloud can help with both. The Warriors are using AI from Google Cloud to break down every move on the court, helping coaches game plan. And for fans, the same AI powers the mobile app, giving you personalized content, highlights, and yes, nachos, ordered from your phone. With AI, you're always in the game, even off the court. Google Cloud, the official AI partner of the Golden State Warriors.
To Curry, pump fake, flyby, three ball, got it with the buzzer sounding!
You've been listening to Golden State Warriors basketball on the Warriors Radio Network. Presented by United Airlines. For tickets, visit Warriors.com or call 888-GSW-HOOP.
You wish you were here.
This Odyssey Sports broadcast has been brought to you by Geico. Switch.
Pelicans won't foul. Pajemski will dribble this one out. Golden State gets a much-needed win. Wasn't a pretty one, but it was a victory. The final buzzer sounds. The final score is 104-96. Handshakes and hugs abound. And certainly Kevon Looney will walk over wearing a Pelicans jersey and get a lot of love from the Dubs for his 10-year career here, his titles here, and the job that he did for the Warriors.
Absolutely well said by the voice of the Warriors, Tim Roy. You heard that earlier here on 95.7. The game, you started it off by saying, hey, it wasn't pretty, but you needed a win, and that's absolutely the case. A win is a win is a win. Ain't nobody going to sit here and complain about a win. Could it have been prettier? Yes, absolutely it could have. Could it have been maybe a little easier to digest. Yes, it could have, but bottom line, the Warriors desperately needed to win this basketball game, and they got the job done down Stephen Curry. They win this one 104-96 over the lifeless Pelicans, and the Warriors get back above 500 at 11-10. The Pelicans fall to 3-17. Welcome in. It's Warriors wrap up on a Saturday evening. Mark Randy with you here on 95.7 The Game. If you want to weigh in, you got a number of ways to do it. You can give me a call or you can shoot me a text. Both those numbers are the same, 888-957-9570. Again, the number 888-957-9570. That's the call or to text the Boxer and Gersten Work Injury Attorneys text line. Meanwhile, I also have our YouTube chat up, youtube.com/957 The Game. Everything we do on YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I see Robert, I see Adrian, I see Crash, I see Empire, I see Daniel, I see a few others. I see the Drum Committee, all chiming in on YouTube. Keep the comments coming. youtube.com/957 The Game. On the text line, shout out to the 925, the 860, the 510, the 415, the 424. Keep all the comments coming on the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorneys text line. All right. Warriors down Steph. Still no Al Horford. D'Anthony Melton is nearing a return. He might be back on the Warriors' upcoming road trip. The homestand concludes Tuesday when OKC is in town. After that, it's a 3-game trip. Melton might be back then, so it's still no Melton today. And the Warriors did get Jonathan Kuminga back. We're going to talk about Kuminga coming up in a little bit here on Warriors Wrap-Up. But I think we got to begin with what happened down the stretch of this basketball game, because this was a coin flip basketball game. It was tied for quite a long time in the fourth quarter. And the Warriors and Pelicans could not gain any ground on each other. It was tied at 87 for about a minute and a half. It was 87 with 5.5 left, and then there was no points until about the 4-minute mark when the Pelicans split a pair of free throws to take an 88-87 lead with 4 minutes left. All right, did the Warriors have enough in the tank at that point to eke out a victory? They respond by going on a 12-0 run. It was begun by a Brandon Pajemski big three-pointer. That gave the Warriors a 2-point lead with a little under 4 minutes to go. Draymond Green, who played great defense all game long, specifically on Zion Williamson, then denied an entry pass by tipping it to himself, got a steal. It resulted in a GP2 dunk. GP2, one of the heroes of this game as well. And guess who found GP2 for the dunk? It was Jimmy Butler. A pass from the left corner to a cutting GP2 for a dunk. That put the Warriors up by 4 with about 3.5 minutes left. That's a quick 5-0 burst for the Warriors. Then more great Draymond defense forces a crazy wild Zion miss off a drive attempt. Butler then finds a cutting GP2 again, this time a fast break bucket. Warriors up by 6. Then you got a couple of empty trips back and forth. Ultimately, Jimmy Butler with about a minute and a half left drives baseline from the right corner, reverse layup. Warriors go up by 8, a minute 22 left. Not completely over, but you feel pretty good about it. They were down 1, then a 9-0 run. They go up by 8, then a GP2 steal. Eventually, the Warriors kill a lot of the shot clock. The ball finds itself out to GP2 off a Pajemski drive and kick. GP2 wide open left corner. Takes a dribble, a rhythm dribble, if you will, then hits the 3. Warriors go up 11, and that's the ball game. The rest of the game was essentially New Orleans playing the foul game, but that was the dagger by GP2, and how good was he in this game today? He finishes with 19 points. That's a season high. Most points he's had in an NBA game since March of this past season, still this year, 2025, but last season when he scored 26 points in a game against the Blazers. He also had a season high 11 rebounds, one off of his career high. Of those 11 rebounds for GP2, 4 were on the offensive side, and a number of those, I believe at least 3, resulted in putbacks for himself. 2 of them came in the second quarter when he was a big part of a 12-0 Warrior run in that quarter. So GP2 was awesome in this basketball game. We spent a lot of time talking on Wednesday night when the Warriors lost to the Rockets, a really good basketball team, but a Rockets team that was was down two of their key pieces in Kevin Durant and Steven Adams, a game that I think the Warriors would tell you they should win, especially when Steph was healthy. Steph healthy, got hurt late in that basketball game, out for at least a week. We'll see how long the absence turns out to be. That was a game the Warriors felt like they should have won, much like the Portland game the previous Friday. 8 days ago now, that Portland game. That was a game the Warriors should have won, but they just did not get enough support from the others offensively. You know what you're going to get most nights from Jimmy Butler and from Steph Curry. Who's going to be a secondary scorer, I guess more like a tertiary scorer for the Warriors? Who's going to be the other, not named Steph, not named Jimmy, especially over the last couple of weeks when Kuminga has been out. Again, Kuminga returned today. We got to talk about Kuminga as well here on Warriors Wrap-Up. But can somebody just step in to that scoring role and get somewhere between 15 to 19 points per game? 19 might be asking a little too much. Maybe more like 13 to 16 points per game. If somebody could do that every single night, this Warrior team, I think, is going to take a step forward. And now that Steph Curry's out, it becomes a lot more difficult because Jimmy becomes the leading scorer, and you need somebody to step into the secondary scorer role, and then somebody else to step into the tertiary scorer role. Now, against a team like New Orleans, you might be able to win with just a leading scorer and then maybe a couple of others chipping in. But it was GP2 who did just that. 19 points for him on 14 shot attempts. He was incredibly efficient, 9 for 14 from the field. Those 11 rebounds that I mentioned. Also had 3 assists. Played his good defense as he always does. It was him and Jimmy Butler that stole the show. I mean, Jimmy Butler controlled this game every second that he was on the floor for. He played a little more than 37 minutes and 14 seconds. He scored 24 points on 15 shots. That's also crazy efficiency. Thanks because of the free throw line. He got to the line 14 times, made 10 of them. Also, 8 rebounds and 10 assists. He was controlling the basketball game. You think of a Jimmy Butler great game and a dominant Jimmy Butler game. I think it's different than a lot of other star players' dominant games. You think of a Steph Curry dominant game, and it's like, man, Steph scored 42 tonight, and he made 8 threes. He was incredible. He was amazing. I'm not here to say that Jimmy Butler is as good as Steph Curry. I'm just here to say the way that Jimmy has his amazing dominant game is different than a lot of the other stars. The way that Jimmy does it is not just by scoring. And Jimmy could score 18 points and still be dominant in that basketball game because he controlled the action in every waking second while he was on the floor. 24 points for Jimmy tonight, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists. If you were listening earlier today on Warriors Live when I gave out my Take It to the Bank prediction brought to you by Fremont Bank, I said this feels like an easy over 5.5 assists for Jimmy Butler. That number felt way too low because there's no Steph, and the Warriors are desperate for a win. Those two factors to me combine into Steve Kerr just saying, okay, for the 37 minutes Jimmy plays tonight, just give him the ball and we'll figure it out from there. And that's what this was. This was Jimmy Butler controlling almost every action the Warriors got into offensively. They created a lot of good shots. Open looks. Maybe you disagree at me calling them good shots because a lot of the open looks were for some relatively bad shooters, or at least shooters that are going through a bit of a shooting slump. I mean, Draymond Green was 0 for 9 from the field, 0 for 7 from downtown. You ask the Pelicans, are they okay giving Draymond an open 3? Yeah, probably. You're probably right. Although, they're not comfortable giving Buddy Hield an open 3. He only made 2 of his 7, but those are good looks the Warriors are getting. Podziemski was getting open looks and really struggled in the first half, but I thought Podziemski had one of his best halves of the season in the second half when he scored 13 of his 15 points in the second half, made a couple of big threes in the third quarter. Kuminga, after missing his first 3 3-pointers, made 2 clutch 3-pointers in the fourth quarter as well. A lot of what the Warriors got, we talk about what the others did offensively. GP2's scoring, Brendan Podziemski's scoring, some Moses Moody buckets as well. So much of that is just created because of Jimmy Butler. So I thought Jimmy Butler, despite only scoring 24 points, if we can pretend that 24 is not a large amount. I know in today's NBA, sometimes getting into the 20s doesn't really feel like that much of an accomplishment, given that there are players averaging 30 points per game. 24 points for Jimmy, that's a great amount, but just what he did to control the basketball game from start to finish, I thought he was in control nearly the entire way in this one. So Jimmy, I thought, had himself an awesome basketball game in this one. And then, honestly, it was just a case of, can the Warriors survive while Jimmy rests? He played 37 minutes today. That means he rested for 11 minutes. In the 37 minutes that Jimmy was on the floor, the Warriors outscored the Pelicans by 22 points. 37 minutes with Jimmy on the floor, the Warriors were 22 points better than the Pelicans. That means in a game in which you won by 8, the Warriors were 14 points worse than the Pelicans while Jimmy rested. That is a alarming number, because this is the Pelicans team. Yes, they're an NBA team. Those are professional players on the other side, but they're also down some of their best players. No Jordan Poole today. No Herbert Jones today. No Trey Murphy today. In terms of Pelicans that most Warriors fans recognize, it's Zion Williamson. It's probably Jose Alvarado. Of course, it's Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney, the longtime Warrior, who was honored today, and it was an emotional tribute pregame with a video tribute from the Warriors, a long standing ovation from Warriors fans at Chase Center, and a very, very, I don't know if choked up's the right word, but you could tell that it was touching for Kevon Looney to get that kind of love from the fans. But in terms of Pelicans players that Warriors fans know are Pelicans players without any of the Warriors connections, it's Zion Williamson and it's probably Jose Alvarado. This is a basketball team in the Pelicans, and this is why you can't get too incredibly encouraged by tonight. This is a basketball team in the Pelicans that the roster they put out there today might be the worst in basketball. That's how bad it is. They are 3-17 on the season. Now, they have had a lot of injuries, but they were not healthy today, not by any stretch. In fact, they were probably more injured today than they have been really at any other point so far this season, because they were down both Herbert Jones and Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy, if memory serves, like I can double-check here for you, hadn't missed a game yet this season. Trey Murphy, yes, has not yet missed a game, and he's an amazing three-point shooter, a pretty solid wing player, and he's got some good length on him as well. This was a game the Warriors should win. Absolutely. Down Steph, they were favored by 9. They ultimately won by 8. Interesting. Vegas was almost square on the number. Jimmy missed a free throw down the stretch. I'm just playing. I'm not saying there was anything fishy going on. Just crazy how often Vegas gets it nearly square on the number. But this was a game the Warriors should have won, and they did. And they won by 8, but the game was pretty competitive. It was a whole lot more competitive than that. This was a tie basketball game with like 4.5 minutes to go in regulation, and then the Warriors, they closed it out, and give them credit for that. But the fact that while Jimmy Butler rests, you were 14 points worse than that team, that is a little cause for alarm and for concern. Now, again, a win is a win, and all that matters, it doesn't matter how ugly it is, and maybe the best strategy is to kind of muck up the basketball game a little bit while Steph's out. We'll see what happens on Tuesday when a healthier OKC is in town. They just got Jalen Williams back, J-Dub, the Santa Clara Jalen Williams, who was an all-star last year, who was probably the second-best player on last year's title team. Chet Holmgren pretty good, but I'd pick Jalen Williams as the OKC Thunder's second-best player after last year's MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But the Warriors were in a dogfight against a really, really bad basketball team. Again, you got the win. That's all that matters. Your goal is to tread water until Steph comes back. But it is somewhat alarming that this was a team that wasn't just, a little worse, but they were a whole lot worse than this Pelicans team while Jimmy Butler was off the court. He had to play 37 minutes tonight to win. Now, you just had 2 days off. You played Wednesday, you had Thanksgiving Thursday off, and you had Friday off. Now you have 2 more days off. You don't play Sunday, that's tomorrow, and you don't play Monday. You play OKC on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock tip-off, by the way. But it is still a little bit concerning. There's no doubt about that. I do think, though, you did get some contributions, some good contributions from the others. In fact, in the fourth quarter. It was, of course, while Jimmy was resting to begin, but you got some contributions from a lot of the others. So even before Jimmy Butler checks in, no, this was actually after Jimmy Butler checked back in, but it wasn't him doing the scoring. Really, that kind of what got the Warriors rolling in the fourth quarter was a Will Richard three-pointer. By the way, Will Richard left in the first half with what looked like, I don't know, maybe a hip or a lower back issue. He was kind of hit fighting for a rebound and hit hard on the hardwood on the floor, and then kind of gingerly walked off towards the bench and then into the locker room in the first half. He came back into the game, and he seemed fine. Hit a big three in the fourth quarter that gave the Warriors a 2-point lead relatively early in the fourth. Then Jonathan Kuminga hit a three. Then Kuminga hit another three. Then there was a Pat Spencer drive, and he hit a floater. So you did get contributions from a lot of the others. In fact, points in the fourth quarter, Jimmy Butler had 5, and the Warriors scored 31 in the fourth. So you had 26 points from Warriors not named Jimmy Butler in the fourth. Now, some of it, as I was talking about earlier, was absolutely generated by by Jimmy Butler, whether it was on his drives and kicks or it was just the defense collapsing on him, backing a Pelican down in the post, and that resulted in an advantage, and the ball got swung around, and Jimmy gets the hockey assist or whatever the case was. A lot of it was because of Jimmy's presence, much like Steph's gravity creates so many opportunities for others. Jimmy does that in a lightweight way, not as much as Steph does, but he does have that kind of impact on a defense, especially when he's rolling and he has a mismatch and you isolate him on one side. The defense has to collapse, or, are they comfortable with Jimmy backing down Bryce McGowan's? Like, no, they're probably not going to want to do that. They're going to send somebody over to help, and then Jimmy, more often than not, will make the right decision, pass it out, find the open man. And in the fourth quarter, for the most part, their shots were falling. The others' shots were falling. Podziemski, a couple of big threes. As I mentioned, Will Richard, a three. There was the 2 Jonathan Kuminga threes. And then there was the Pat Spencer drive and the little floater. So you did get a lot from the others, which you needed. You're going to continue to need that going forward. I also think the way that this game played out was, I think the biggest thing that I was looking for in this basketball game was, all right, what is the general offensive strategy? Because I think in general, the Warriors tend to be a little too stubborn when it comes to the offense that they run. They are often... Well, okay, let me back up, because this is an offense and a team that has run, in large part, the similar offense, the same idea, the same scheme, the same guiding principles for over a decade, and it's won them 4 championships. And there's no doubt that it goes hand in hand with Steph Curry's abilities, and it is designed to maximize Steph Curry and what he does and how he impacts the defense. So I'm not here to tell you that the offense that Steve Kerr and the Warriors run isn't what they should be running while Steph is on the floor. Steph is amazing, and he's won 4 championships with this offense. But for quite a while, especially in the post Kevin Durant era, and maybe even going a little beyond the Kevin Durant era, say post real good Klay Thompson era, or post Jordan Poole era, when he was so good in 2021 and 22, when the Warriors haven't had a consistent second scorer, and you've kind of been searching for someone else. And maybe some of this is just frankly on the lack of development or the lack of production from your younger core, your players like Moody, like Kuminga, like Podziemski, and you could even say James Wiseman as well. If those players just were better and fit in better, then maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation, is the point. But that all has happened, and I think as a result, the Warriors in the past have been a little too stubborn. Sticking with the offense that is designed around Stephen Curry, even while Curry is not on the floor or while he's out. The Warriors are trying to get something to work that doesn't necessarily fit at times, I think, with the players that are out there on the floor. So today, knowing, and you had 2 days to prep for it, one of them was Thanksgiving. I don't know exactly what the Warriors' schedule was the last couple of days. I think they had Thanksgiving completely off. I don't know if the coaches got together maybe earlier in the day and kind of put together a game plan or whatever. But you had some time to prep for this game. And you're going to have more time to prep for OKC with 2 more days off, and without a holiday there in those days off. So I was curious to find out. All right, you're down Steph, you have time to prep. What's the offensive plan? What's the point of attack? How do you try to break down a defense without Steph Curry? Relying on Jimmy Butler is the obvious way to do it. It is at times throwing the motion offense to the wayside and just saying, all right, we're going to play a little bit more isolation. Jimmy, you're going to touch the ball in every single possession. You're going to be our hub. You're making the decisions. And, Jimmy, we go as you go. So lead us. Lead us, Jimmy. And that's what this was from the jump. I think it was the right strategy. Now, with that said, an offensive star like Jimmy isn't going to just put his head down and give you 45 points every game. He's going to, for the most part, make the right basketball decision, whether it is to take a shot himself, whether it is to pump fake and get to the free throw line, or whether it is to kick to an open shooter. He will do that. Even if, and we have felt this frustration at times, I know a lot of you have, and you can give me a call and tell me so, 888-957-9570. He's not the guy to just put his head down and be overly aggressive offensively. And Steve Kerr, who we're going to hear from coming up in a little bit, was asked about that postgame. Like, in these moments, do you need him to be a little bit more aggressive, hunting for his own shot? And we'll hear what he said. But as memory serves, he said that he knows that we need that from him, but that's also not the kind of player that he is all the time. So what it comes down to when your offense runs through Jimmy is you're going to need, to a certain degree, your other players to hit shots. And in the first half, the others were not hitting shots. The Warriors scored just 42 points in the first half. Jimmy scored 11 of them. The Warriors were 2 for 22 from deep. 2 for 22 from deep in the first half. That's 9.1% from downtown. The first half box score was one of the oddest box scores I've ever seen. The Pelicans shot 33.3% from the field. The Warriors shot 33.3% from the field. The Pelicans shot 9.1% from deep. The Warriors shot 9.1% from deep. But they all attempted different number of shots. They just happened to be like reciprocals of each other. It was really odd the way the first half played out. It was an offensive display, if we can put it that way, in the first half. And that's at times what happens when your offense runs through Jimmy Butler. I had someone who was sitting with me up on press row here at Chase Center tonight watching the Warriors in the first half. And this wasn't at halftime. It was when they were maybe 1 for 17 from deep or whatever the number was. I can't remember exactly what the number was. But all you need to know is they finished 2 for 22 from deep in the first half. And someone leaned over to me, and I've heard this comment a lot. And if you feel this way, let me know. If you were thinking the same thing, give me a text, 888-957-9570. That's the Boxer and Gerson Work Injury Attorney text line. Or shoot me a message on the YouTube chat, youtube.com/957thegame. Everything we do on YouTube powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Anyway, this person on Media Row leans into me and says, Grandy, they're 1 for 16, whatever the number was, from three-point range in the first half. Why do they keep shooting those threes? Why do they continue to shoot those shots? Well, let me tell you, because and this was a specific moment when the Warriors lineup was Podziemski, Will Richard, then it was Buddy Hield. He subbed in for Will Richard once Will Richard went down with that minor injury. He then came back. But it was Podziemski, then Richard/Hield, then Moody, Draymond, and Post. All right, that was the group of 5. Mostly Podziemski and Hield, some Will Richard, then Moody, Draymond, and Post. I'm just straight up ask you, any of those 5 guys, do you have faith that any of them are going to be able to beat their defender off the dribble and create for either themselves or someone else in the paint? Like, I don't see a winning matchup off the dribble for almost any of the Warriors there. So kind of by default, your best strategy is to shoot the 3. And it's what Steve Kerr talked about post-game as well. And we're going to get to what Steve Kerr had to say, because I think there was a lot of interesting stuff there. But he said specifically when talking about Brandon Podziemski, we want him to let him fly from downtown. He's been pump faking too often on open threes and trying to dribble into the paint. We don't want him doing that. We want him shooting the open threes. And he got up 9 threes today. He put 6 of them up in the second half. He was 3 for 6 from downtown. But my answer to the question of why do they shoot so many threes, well, it's because if Jimmy Butler isn't on the floor, or even if he is on the floor but he passes the ball, the Warriors' best offense is to take the open 3, because I don't think they have that many players that are able to dribble into the paint and create. Now, one of them, and some of you might disagree, one of them is Kuminga. Kuminga is one of the guys that can. Now, can he dribble into a crowd? No, that's when he gets into trouble and turns the ball over. But can he take advantage of a strong closeout, put it on the floor once or twice, and get to the rim? Yes, he can do that. But there aren't a lot of other Warriors that can. So kind of by default, the Warriors' best option offensively, a lot of possessions is, all right, here's a post 3. All right, here's a Moody 3. All right, here's a Hield 3. Okay, here's a Podziemski 3. And to the Warriors' credit, a lot of them are open 3s, and those are 4 not poor shooters, right? Post was really good last year from downtown, hasn't been as consistent this year. Buddy Hield is really struggling to begin the year, but we know he always goes through stretches like this. I think he's going to shoot a whole lot better starting relatively soon. You would imagine the numbers in his career bear that out. Moses Moody has shown that he can be a pretty darn good shooter at times. He's largely been pretty good this year. He's had a couple of really big games, and then some others that have been a whole lot quieter. Podziemski, he's had a rough shooting year by all accounts. But it's not as if he's a 20%, 25% three-point shooter either. The guy can hit 30+%, 35%. If you're the Warriors, that's what you should be hoping for. Those aren't terrible shots. My point is, I would prefer those guys taking open threes as opposed to the Warriors passing them up and trying to get to the paint and being unable to, either turning the ball over before you can even get a shot off, or getting your shot blocked, or throwing up a wild, crazy shot that barely even ticks iron. So why are they shooting so many threes? It's because of the personnel that they have on the floor. And if it's not Jimmy Butler, and right now we're talking about this in the absence of Curry, as he's going to miss at least a couple more games. If it's not Jimmy Butler on the floor, and if you're not getting a good Kuminga game, there's not many others that I think can take advantage of that and score down low with any kind of regularity. It happens at times. Moses Moody had a really nice drive and reverse finish tonight. Podziemski had a nice reverse finish tonight. Like, it happens at times. I just don't think it's the most reliable way of getting points. And you might say, well, what the hell are you talking about? Their threes aren't falling either. Yeah, I hear you. I just have a little bit more faith in an open 3 than some of these guys having to dribble through traffic and finishing around the rim. I think it is the Warriors' best course of action. If it's an open 3, now if it's contested, that's an entirely different story. Now they ultimately finished on the night 12 for 47 from deep. The Warriors did. That was after being 2 for 22 from deep in the first half, which means they went, 10 for 25 in the second half. Still not all that good, but it's a whole lot better than it was in the first half. And no surprise, it was the others hitting the threes. Of the 12 made threes, Jimmy Butler made none of them. You got 3 from Podziemski. You got 2 each from Buddy Hield, Jonathan Kuminga, and Moses Moody. And then 1 from Quentin Post, 1 from GP2. That was the dagger. And 1 from Will Richard. And so many of those were in the fourth quarter. Through 3 quarters, you made 7 threes. You made 5 of your 12, almost half of them, in the fourth quarter. And there's no surprise. That was, as a result, the Warriors' best quarter. They scored 31 points. They outscored the Pelicans by 7 in the fourth in a game in which they won by 8, 104-96. I think that's just the way that it's going to have to go for the Warriors offensively without Steph Curry. It's going to have to be a lot of Jimmy, It's going to be Jimmy get to the free throw line as much as possible. He got to the line 14 times, and then it's going to be, all right, Jimmy, you're going to kick out to some open shooters, and the shooters are going to have to make their shots. I think it's as simple as that if you're the Warriors. 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. Again, that's 888-957-9570. This was a narrow Warriors victory, 104-96, the final. This was a tie basketball game with about 4.5 to go in the fourth quarter. The Warriors used a big run in the fourth quarter to win this basketball game. GP2 was awesome. I haven't talked about this moment yet either. The Warriors got down relatively big in the first half. The Pelicans led by 10 at 29-19 with about 7:50 to go in the first half. And Chase Center was nervous. There was a very quiet, nervous energy around Chase Center, and the Warriors needed a spark. They needed something. Jimmy couldn't do it all himself, and to that point, it was essentially all Jimmy Butler. I mean, Jimmy in the first quarter scored 8 of the Warriors' 17 points. There was a stretch. In fact, let me scroll up and find the exact numbers here. I wanted to make note of this because so much of the Warriors' offense, really all game, but specifically right out of the gates, was all Jimmy Butler. Jimmy scored or assisted on 8 of the Warriors' first 11 points. It was, all right, Jimmy, grab the ball in the left post, sometimes post extended, back your guy down, try to get to the line, face up, hit him with a jab, take the mid-range jumper, drive, and dish. It was just, a lot of it was beginning from the Warriors isolating Jimmy Butler. And they needed somebody else to just step in and help a little bit. And the man that stepped in and helped a little bit was Gary Payton II. He was scoreless in the first quarter, played just 4 minutes in the first quarter, and then in the second quarter he sparked the Warriors and is a big reason why they won this basketball game. Warriors down 10, 29-19 with about 7:50 to go in the second quarter. Gary Payton II got a little mini hook shot to go off a Jimmy Butler assist. Then off of a Jonathan Kuminga drive, it was Kuminga driving from the left wing kind of towards the free throw line, if memory serves, just under the little dotted semicircle, just inside the free throw line. And then he passed to a cutting cutting Gary Payton II for a dunk. Then he had back-to-back offensive rebound put-back layups. He then, off of a Warrior steal on the other side, pushed the tempo, found Pat Spencer for a fast break lay-in. Then he cut for a layup off another Butler assist. He had a baseline cutting layup off another Butler assist after that. There was the hockey assist from Draymond Green. Draymond had the ball at the free throw line, passed to a cutting Jimmy from the left side. Jimmy caught it left block. Then GP2 came cutting from the right corner, and Jimmy found GP2 on the right block, lay in for a bucket. And that was a big stretch. That was 12 points for GP2 alone, 2 offensive rebounds, and an assist as part of a 23-9 Warrior run to close the first half. The Warriors were down 10, and then they go on a 23-9 run to take a 4-point lead going into the second half. That 23-9 run, of course, it was not all GP2, but he scored more than half of the Warriors' points in that run, and a lot of it, correctly so, was set up by a lot of the others. It was a lot of Jimmy Butler setting things up for GP2, but you just need somebody to make themselves available in the right spots. And for everything that GP2 isn't, he's not an amazing shooter. He doesn't have the size that makes him an elite rebounder, although he was very good at that today with 11 rebounds. 4 of them were offensive rebounds. What he is a very smart basketball player, and he's going to find the right spots on the floor to fill. And he's going to make himself available to some of the other players. Jimmy Butler is elite at then finding those guys if they're in the right spots, and GP2 is very good at consistently being in the right spots, and he was in this game, specifically in that run in the second quarter, where he scored 12 of the Warriors' 23 points in that 23-9 run. A big reason why the Warriors took a 4-point lead going into halftime after they were down by as many as 10 points with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter, a 23-9 run. And then he, of course, was part of the really big stretch in the fourth quarter that I've already talked about. The Warriors' 12-0 run to go from down 1 to up 11 late in the game. 12-0 run for the Warriors. It was GP2 who scored 7 of those, including the dagger three-pointer to put the Warriors up by 11 with less than a minute left. GP2 was the guy that stepped in the big moments. He sparked the Warriors' comeback in the first half, and he sparked the run that put the game away and won the game for the Warriors in the fourth quarter. Absolutely, the Warriors lose this basketball game without GP2. There's no doubt about it. All right. We got to hit a break here on Warriors Wrap-Up. When we come back, we'll hear from Steve Kerr, plus time for your comments, your calls, 888-957-9570 if you want to weigh in. Steve Kerr, address the media postgame. That is coming up next as Warriors Wrap-Up continues. Dubs 104, Pelicans 96. The Warriors 11-10 on the year, and they get a much-needed win without Steph Curry. We're back with more. It's Mark Randy with you live from Chase Center on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
On the golf tee, it's Skechers World Champions Cup. Watch it live December 4th and 5th on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 12 to 4 p.m. It's PGA Champions Tour golfers from all over the world. Team USA versus Team Europe versus Team International. Watch it live December 4th and 5th on ESPN and ESPN Plus, 12 to 4 p.m. The competition will be tense, but feet will be comfy. Tune in to Skechers World Champions Cup. Final round of golf on Sunday, December 7th on ABC, 1 to 5 p.m.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Hey, it's Willard, and I'm just going to say it. We need your help. Right now, 1 in 3 people in the Bay Area don't know where their next meal is coming from. Parents skipping dinner so their kids can eat. Seniors choosing between medicine and groceries. In a place this strong, this connected, that shouldn't happen. It can't happen. That's why our friends at Habas Law are teaming up with Martha's Kitchen. Martha's Kitchen provides more than 200,000 meals every month to our neighbors in need. So let's do what the Bay Area does best. Let's show up together. Visit marthas-kitchen.org and donate today. Habas Law, always fighting to make it right.
What if you had the smartest Wi-Fi? If you did, it'd be Xfinity, of course. And it'd come with their best state-of-the-art equipment. It would boost speeds to the devices that needed them most, prioritizing your most important connections, whether you were streaming, gaming, or gaming while pretending to work. And it would let you stream 4. That's right, 4 games on one screen. It would even power your mobile connection so you could bring faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds with you where you use it most. It would be proactive and fix problems before you knew you had them. Impressive, right? And it would have security features that protect you from threats at home and online. Kinda like a force field for your life. If you had the smartest Wi-Fi, well, everything would work together seamlessly to keep you connected, no matter what. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Come into Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill and see an amazing selection of Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove appliances live and on display in one of the largest living kitchens in the country. And save with Full Suite Savings Event. With qualifying purchase, get 3 additional years of protection or qualify for a $1,000 rebate. For the largest selection of Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove appliances, visit the Living Kitchen at Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or at friedmansappliance.com.
Tired of the same old night out? Head to Ghostwood Kitchen, your neighborhood spot for an incredible time. They take pride in their huge selection of in-house craft beer, innovative craft cocktails made with fresh ingredients, and full menu of delicious scratch-made food. From their smash burgers to their unique appetizers. Don't miss their special entertainment nights featuring Wednesday night trivia. On Friday and Saturday night, Ghost Hour is 50% off all drinks, 9 p.m. to close, and featuring a live DJ on Fridays. Find your vibe at Ghostwood Kitchen, 911 Main Street in Redwood City, and at Ghostwood.com.
He's the best interview in the Bay Area.
He looked like Steph Curry always has, so he still got it. I mean, I think the biggest thing when you're 37 is maintaining the level over the course of 82 games.
And he joins Willard and Dibbs every week during the NBA season.
We have a blueprint that everybody's feeling confident with.
Steve Kerr is presented by Great Clips. In sports, success is about team effort, and the same is true for your hair. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business?
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Back to Zion, knocked away by Draymond with the steal. Outlet Pajemski, left sideline, Payton ahead to Butler. Butler in the front court. Right outside of the Oakland tree on the left side. Pass, back cut, Payton, two-hand, rim rocker. The dunk for Gary Payton on the back cut. The assist to Jimmy Butler, and the timeout goes to New Orleans.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
That was the great Tim Roy once again calling the action here on 95.7 The Game, and you could just play that on repeat for a lot of the night. It was Jimmy Butler assists GP2. That must have happened like 7 different times tonight. Jimmy had 10 assists. This is unofficial. I should have went and counted it up during the commercial break. I was lazy and I was just sitting here thinking about other stuff. But I would imagine like at least 5 of Jimmy's 10 assists were to GP2. That was the most used combination for the Warriors today. And it worked well. They don't win this game without either of those guys, of course. Jimmy was awesome with 22, 8, and 10, flirting with a triple-double, 2 rebounds shy of that. He also went down on a hard fall in this one. He was going up for a rebound, and he got upended from underneath. I believe it was it McGowan's? I forget exactly which Pelican it was that upended him. And if you remember, shoot me a text, give me the message. But regardless, it doesn't really matter who it was. He was called for a flagrant, and Jimmy crashed hard to the court. And I was worried about, I immediately flashed back to the Houston series when he landed on his tailbone and he missed a game and he clearly was not comfortable still going forward after that. He kind of landed, it looked like a little bit more on his side. And I was thinking maybe it's a hip. You land on your hip, that's really tough and not easy to deal with and very painful. He was clearly in a lot of pain, and he was kind of laboring as he walked back to the bench because he had to then take free throws. But he walked to the bench, and there was the review, so it allowed him to take a second. But while he was on the bench, he was getting his left elbow looked at, and eventually it was like bandaged and taped up. It looked like maybe the elbow landed first and kind of broke his fall, which isn't great because that's painful, although it is not your shooting hand, which it could be worse, I suppose. And I'd probably rather land with the brunt of the impact to my elbow than to my hip as a basketball player, especially one like Jimmy who relies on his lower body for so much of what he does. But regardless, that was not an easy thing to deal with there at all. But even with that, he still had 8 rebounds, and he had 10 assists, and he scored 24 points. And again, a lot of those assists went to GP2, who was awesome in this game. The Warriors win this one 104-96. They get a much-needed win. I said on pregame on Warriors Live, this is not a must-win, but it's almost as close to a must-win as you could get in November. The Warriors have a 5-game homestand. This was game 4 of a 5-game homestand. They lost 2 winnable games in their first 3. It was the Blazers 8 days ago on Friday night. And then it was, they lost that game. They beat Utah. Then they fell to Houston without Kevin Durant, without Steven Adams. They had a lead in that game. They could not get it done. They lost that one on Wednesday. They absolutely needed this game to at least lock up a 2-3 homestand because coming up next, it's not a game that we're just immediately marking as an L. But the defending NBA champion OKC Thunder are in town, and they're healthier with Santa Clara. Jalen Williams is back, and the last time these two teams met in OKC won by 24. They were up a lot more than that when the Warriors, when both teams waved the white flag, came back in the fourth quarter when the game was already decided. So this is a really tough matchup with OKC coming up, which meant that this game tonight was one the Warriors absolutely had to have. You did not want to go a game below 500 with OKC coming into town. The threat then is you're 2 games under 500. Then you have tough game in Philly, tough game in Cleveland, not an easy game in Chicago. Your 3-game road trip. You had to have this game, and you got it done. At worst now, you're 500 going onto the road, which you're still not that happy about, but it's better than being 2 games under if you happen to lose this OKC game coming up on Tuesday. Okay. Steve Kerr coming up in a sec. We do have a call that I want to get out to before we do that. 888-957-9570 if you want to add to the conversation. Eric in Millbrae is up next. He wants to talk about the stars of the night. What's up, Eric? You're on Warriors Wrap-Up.
Hey, what's going on, man? Tonight, not the most stylistic or picturesque game, but if you're the Warriors, you'll take the win. You have no room for error. Without Curry, even against the worst teams, even with Curry, they lost to some of these terrible teams. So without him at a home game, this was critical to me to win this game against a struggling Pelicans team. I love what I saw at GP2. He's got to be that X factor. With Curry out, thankfully it's only going to be a week, we assume. He's got to be that X factor. The Warriors need him to be that all-around guy, both ends of the court. Scoring's a plus. I know his specialty is defense, but if they can get that type of offense with Jimmy Buckets, that's why we acquired him to be that guy next to Curry. So he's got to be the leader in command when Curry's out. And so he's got to take over games. He can't be passive or lax. He's got to be that Jimmy Buckets he was in Miami. Even though he's older, he's got to be able to take over games. So J.K. was back. He was pretty efficient. I like what I saw out of him. So I think even though it was an ugly win, the Warriors have no room for error right now. So they'll take any win they can get, especially at home now. I'm going to be at the game on Tuesday now. Now you got the abdominal task of the defending champs who lost 1 game, and maybe they'll shock all of us and win. I don't know. I doubt it. But they're going to have to play nearly a perfect game to beat OKC, and even then, that still might not be good enough. So you bank this win, and hopefully maybe they'll shock all of us and win it. I doubt it, but with the way OKC's playing. But if everybody can play their lights out, maybe surprise us like they tend to do from time to time and get this win on Tuesday night, then we'll see. But all in all, you took care of business tonight against a bad New Orleans team, and they'll take it. But GP2, hats off to him, because if he doesn't come through tonight, they probably lose this game to New Orleans. So everybody's got to really elevate their game with Curry out, and hopefully that's going to be the case until we get the chef back in a week or so. Thanks for the time, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate the call, Eric. Always love hearing from you here on Warriors Wrap-Up. Yeah, this was one you had to have. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You had to win this basketball game, any means necessary. Maybe you're a little concerned that it took that great of a game from Jimmy and how good GP2 was to just eke it out. You needed Jimmy to play 37 minutes to beat a team that's 3-17, down, I don't know, like 3 of their top 5 or 6 players in Jordan Poole and Trey Murphy and Herbert Jones. This was a game that you absolutely had to have, and you got it done. So that's the bottom line. This is not the college football playoff where style points matter, although sometimes they don't matter. It's hard to tell what the committee uses to rank these teams sometimes. But this is not college football. The better comparison is back in the BCS era when only 2 teams made the championship game. Style points don't matter. Just win the basketball game by any means necessary. Yeah, 37 minutes for Jimmy tonight. That's probably more than Steve Kerr wanted to play him, but you just had 2 days off, and you have 2 more days off. So it's not as if this is a death knell immediately for Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be incredibly difficult. The best team in the world is coming to town, and you're down your best player. So it's going to be tough. It's not supposed to not be tough, but it's not as if this was a game or what happened tonight immediately makes Tuesday a loss. I think as a lot of us would probably understand, it's probably a loss. It's going to be really, really tough. The Warriors would have to play great. They'd have to make like 20-plus threes, 25 threes in that game to have a chance, you would think, which is possible. They got good looks today. Now, of course, OKC's a much better defensive team than New Orleans. We'll see how it all plays out. That's the conversation for Tuesday and beyond. But you got the win, and that's really all that matters. One thing Eric brought up was Kuminga. We haven't touched a lot on him other than those 2 threes that he made in the fourth quarter, which I thought were impressive considering that he was 0 for 3 from deep to that point. The confidence, 1, to just take them, and then 2, actually making them and making back-to-back in clutch moments in the fourth quarter. I thought that was huge. He's never been shy, sometimes I think it's to his detriment. He takes too many threes at times. He settles, but good to see him not hesitant, because that has also been sometimes that what we see from him, where when his role changes or he's asked to do one thing, then that changes, or he comes back from an absence like he just did tonight, you kind of can see some hesitancy at times. I'm glad I didn't see that hesitancy. Now we're going to have to see him get into a rhythm and fill the right role, and we'll go from there. But I thought today was a step in the right direction. There are things that I liked that Kuminga did. We'll talk about that, but Steve Kerr addressed that post-game, so we're going to hear from him, talk about that, and everything else that happened in this basketball game. Let's hear it from the coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, addressing the media post-game here at Chase Center after the Dubs knocked off the Pelicans. 104-96 the final score. The Dubs back above 500 at 11-10. Here is Coach Kerr addressing the media post-game tonight.
He was amazing. Gary was one of the keys to the game, just his activity level, his defense, obviously, working kind of underneath the basket, freeing himself up for some layups, and then obviously knocked down the 3 that was kind of the killer shot. So Gary was tremendous.
Was what he did, and kind of at times in the fourth, what you guys did, like kind of how it needs to operate around Jimmy? It seemed like some of the stuff you're talking about was working off what Jimmy was doing. Yeah,
Jimmy's one of the best ISO players in the league, so one of the things we work on all the time is our spacing around Jimmy when that ISO happens, and Gary's got a great feel for working the dunker spot, working behind the play, creating these openings. He did it at least twice in the first half, got behind the defense for a layup. J.K. found him on one of them, and then, he's got a great feel. I always say he's a power forward in a point guard's body. It makes him very unique. But his speed and quickness in the dunker spot is tough for people to handle, but also just his feel down there to create the openings.
How's Jimmy doing after that fall? He obviously stayed in the game, kept playing, but how's he doing?
I'm sure he'll be sore tomorrow, but I asked him when it happened, I said, what hurts? And he said, everything. And I said, me too, but I'm 60, so I'm supposed to be hurting. But no, he was incredible the way he took over the game. I thought we got a lot of great performances. The key was taking care of the ball, just allowing ourselves to to control the game or keep it under control, not let it get away from us. And so even when they took the lead, we weren't really making mistakes, and we gave ourselves a chance for Jimmy to take over and, guys to make big shots.
Steve, you praised Jimmy repeatedly for making the right basketball play, no matter what's kind of happening. When Steph's out like he is, you almost have to tell him, hey, be more aggressive. We need you to assert yourself, especially offensively, because we need you to show more force.
Yeah, Jimmy doesn't necessarily want to shoot the ball. He really prefers just making the right basketball play. He reminds me so much of Andre Iguodala in that regard. He's very principled in his approach to basketball. He wants everybody to play the right way. He wants to make the right pass. But there are times, and tonight was one of them, where we just need him to take over and to attack and look to score. And he did that tonight. 14 free throws and 10 assists. I mean, we ran everything through him, and he delivered. But that's to be expected. He's a superstar for a reason.
You played a few small lineups with J.K. at center. What did you make of those experiments?
Well, Trace was out tonight with the knee issue, so before the game we went through the possible matchups and decided that Jimmy and J.K. could be a good combo at the 4 and the 5, and kind of trading off on who they were guarding depending on what was happening out there. So they did a good job together.
What did you think of how he looked in his first game after a couple weeks off?
J.K.? Thought he looked good. Obviously, he hit 2 big threes for us in the second half. His wind and his burst will come back. He's a little rusty, but I thought he looked good for his first game back.
Steve, obviously a cold night shooting the ball from three-point range, especially early on. But did you like the shots that you guys took, and what's key to generating good shots from three-point range without Steph right now?
Yeah, I liked a lot of the shots. I mean, they just weren't going in. For the first half, I think we were 2 for 21 or something. But again, if you take care of the ball and you get shots on goal, it just sets the game up. Your transition defense is better. It gives you a chance to get offensive boards. So the game, it didn't feel that rhythmic, but it felt clean. That we weren't turning it over, making mistakes, and that's important. The shots will start going in. I mean, we got a really good shooting team, so those numbers will come around.
What'd you make of Brandon's game, particularly his second half?
I thought this was one of his best games of the season. Just the ball movement, the decision making, no turnovers. 6 assists, all around game from Brandon. And that's the guy we know. That's the best version of him is nights like tonight, and catch and shoot when he's open. I love that he took 9 threes. He's been passing them up this year and pump faking and driving into the paint. We want him to let it fly, and it's better for our offense, for our rhythm, for our crashing, getting offensive boards, all that. So really good game from him. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, that's Steve Kerr, post-game in Chase Center, talking about a variety of things after his team's win, 104-96 over the Pelicans. A couple things that he talked about that I'm honestly a little embarrassed I haven't brought up just yet. This is something that I thought was the Warriors' plan from the jump, and I guess it's somewhat obvious because this is the Pelicans, and the Pelicans down a number of key players, specifically offensive players. This is the game that just had to be won by the Warriors' defense. We talked a lot about the Warriors' 12-0 run down the stretch, led by GP2's buckets, and what Jimmy Butler was doing offensively. The Warriors' defense was absolutely great today. New Orleans shoots 37% from the field. They go 23% from deep. The Warriors were great defensively. I highlighted a couple of Draymond Green defensive sequences. What he did on Zion Williamson for the majority of this game, and I was keeping an eye on a lot of their minutes. When Zion checked in the fourth quarter, Draymond immediately popped up off the bench, ran to get subbed in as well. They were somewhat mirroring Draymond's minutes to Zion's minutes. Draymond ultimately plays 31 minutes. Zion also 31 minutes, so no surprise there that they were off by about 30 seconds in total. The amount of basketball that they played, Draymond played a little bit more than Zion, but both, you round up for Zion, you round down for Draymond, 31 minutes each for those two. What Draymond did on Zion in the fourth quarter was amazing. He had that steal on the entry pass into him that led to a Warriors bucket, and then he had the defense on a Zion drive that forced a wild shot that just clambered off the backboard and led to a fast break bucket. I believe that one was for GP2 again. No, it was a GP2 pass that set up a Pat Spencer bucket, which was the fast break bucket as part of that Warrior run as well. Draymond was great defensively. And Zion in this game, he was the high scorer for the game with 25 points, but he was 8 for 16 from the field. That's not terrible. Got to the line 10 times. Zion is a load, though. We can poke some fun if we want about the Pelicans as a team, and the team they put out there today is a rough one. No one is denying that, and they're now 3-17. You get healthy Zion, that's a load to deal with, and Draymond, I thought, did a pretty darn good job against Zion, and he probably saved his best for last in that fourth quarter. Warriors were going, if they were going to win this game, they were going to do it first on the defensive end, and that was going to help them out. Now, Steve Kerr will say, yes, that's probably true, Grandy, but the reverse is also accurate. If we just take care of the ball offensively, we're going to set ourselves up for success on the defensive end. And that is true. These two things are all related to each other. The Warriors, as Steve Kerr mentioned, took care of the football. I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and I see some talk about the college football playoff because I brought that up as a comparison point a couple of minutes ago. The Warriors took care of the basketball. They only turned the ball over 10 times today. 1 turnover in the fourth quarter. 1 turnover in the fourth quarter, and guess what? They scored 31 points in that fourth quarter. It was tied for their highest scoring quarter of the game. 1 turnover in the fourth quarter, 10 total in this basketball game. The Warriors took care of the ball. When that happens, you are allowing your defense to get set up in the half court more often than you would otherwise if you're committing turnovers, because that leads to fast break opportunities. And as a result of your defense getting set up more often in the half court, you're going to get more stops, and then you're going to get out and run more often. And that is also a key for the Warriors without Steph Curry. Steve Kerr talked about that pregame. One of the Warriors' keys needs to be to get out and run and try to get some free baskets when you can in transition. Now, that did not really happen today. They only scored 3 fast break points, if you can believe it. But the way the Warriors got a lot of free buckets was at the free throw line. They got to the line 20 times in this one. They made 16 of their 20. It was Jimmy Butler who got to the line 14 times himself. All other Warriors got to the line 6 times. Jimmy went 10 for 14 from the line. The other Warriors went 6 for 6 from the free throw line. You're going to have to find some ways to steal points. Jimmy does it at the free throw line. The Warriors are probably going to need to get out and run a little bit more. That's where I think Jonathan Kuminga coming back and getting fully back into the rhythm and into the rotation is going to help, because he's one of the few Warriors that can put some fear into opposing defenses just purely via running the floor. I thought Kuminga today, I thought he checked some boxes. He did not start. He checked in at about the 7.5-minute mark of the first quarter. His first possession was a cutting layup after he rolled after setting a screen for Podziemski. Guess who found him for the assist? It was, yes, Jimmy Butler. Later on in the first quarter, he fought for an offensive rebound, had good position, and was aggressive in trying to stand his ground with that inside position. Drew a loose ball foul, earns the Warriors an extra possession. Later in the first, he had an offensive rebound, put back dunk. He missed a couple of threes in the first quarter, but largely that first quarter it was active. And I was encouraged by what he showed. He kind of just kind of got some cardio in, it felt like, for the most part through quarters 2 and 3. Had some good moments. Did have a turnover where he caught the ball in the corner, took a negative step that was out of bounds. That's a turnover. He did do a really good job defensively versus Derek Queen. He stood his ground on that one as well, stood him up, bodied him, showed off some of that physical ability of his, forced Derek Queen into an awkward spot where he had to throw the ball up. It results in a turnover. That's a good defensive play by Jonathan Kuminga there. And then in the fourth quarter, he makes those 2 clutch threes after being 0 for 3 from deep up to that point. That takes some guts, and Kuminga did it, and he hit him. When he's in rhythm and he's open, he's a pretty decent three-point shooter, so good to see those 2 go in. And the Warriors probably don't win this game if he doesn't hit those 2 big threes, because they're only worth 6 points, and you won by 8. So we can just take the points away and say, well, they would have won by 2. Those threes, though, changed the entire game because that was when the offense was kind of free-flowing for both sides. It was a made 3 by Will Richard in the fourth quarter. Let me find the exact stretch here. Will Richard hit a 3 to put the Warriors up by 2. Then the Pelicans responded to tie the game at 79. Then a Kuminga 3 to go up by 3. Sadiq Bey answered back with a 3 to tie the game again. Then Kuminga another 3 to put the Warriors back up by 3. This game was kind of going back and forth early fourth. Those two Kuminga 3s were really key. Otherwise, the Warriors might have found themselves down by 6. Or something like that in the fourth. Who knows? They still could have come back and win this game. My point is, it changed the entire fourth quarter, Kuminga making those shots. If he misses them, or he turns them down, and they don't end up scoring on that possession, the Warriors might have lost this basketball game. So there was, I think natural to see some of the rust show for Kuminga, but largely I thought he had a pretty good first game back after missing 7 games. Eager to see him continue to get fully back into the rhythm and the flow of things coming up here over the next handful of games. Warriors up next Tuesday. Oklahoma City is in town. That is an NBC and Peacock game, which means, guess what? Special 8 o'clock tip time. I don't know if you like that or not. You probably don't. 8 o'clock tip time, which means we've got pregame coverage beginning at 7 o'clock. It will be Evan Giddings on pre and post that night for you here on 95.7 The Game. OKC in town, the defending champs. 7 o'clock with the Warriors live. 8 o'clock with a tip time here on 95.7 The Game, and that would conclude the Warriors' 5-game homestand. They're 2-2 in their first 4. An OKC win would be really, really, really nice to make this a winning homestand, but even if they were to lose on Tuesday versus OKC, at least today's win gets them their second win in this homestand. And if they do lose Tuesday, you look at the Portland and the Houston games as the reasons why this was a disappointing homestand, not Oklahoma City on Tuesday, no matter how that game goes. You look at what happened, Portland and Houston, as the reasons why this was not the homestand the Warriors had hoped it would be. After OKC on Tuesday, Philadelphia on Thursday in Philly. This is the beginning of a 3-game trip in Cleveland a week from today, and then a back-to-back in Chicago the next night. Luckily, Cleveland and Chicago, not a terrible trip, but it is a back-to-back in Cleveland a week from today, in Chicago the following Sunday. So it's Philadelphia, Cleveland, Chicago, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday for the Warriors before they return home for 1 game, then on the road for 2 more. Those are games that got added to the schedule after the NBA Cup got finalized, the knockout round of the NBA Cup. Warriors are in Portland, in Phoenix on the 14th and the 18th of December. That's looking a little down the road. Coming up next for the Warriors again, Tuesday versus OKC, then out on a 3-game road trip. All right, that'll do it for Warriors wrap-up. Oh, one thing I wanted to touch on before I go. We had someone who wanted to know about Seth Curry, if there's any update on why Seth Curry is not yet a Warrior. All I can say is I have no inside knowledge on the Warriors' plan here. What I can gather from the situation, because the new NBA CBA is so strict when it comes to you can only spend X amount of dollars, and if you spend this much dollars, you'll be in the penalty, and you have to pay X, Y, and Z, and eventually you'll forfeit draft picks or whatever the punishment is, because it is so difficult. And because it encourages teams to be a little more economical with their spending, all I can guess is the longer the Warriors wait, the more flexibility they have to make future moves. And just trying to read between the lines, because the Warriors are waiting longer to sign Seth Curry, maybe they are planning some future move that would require a few extra cap space dollars, and they're gaining those few extra cap space dollars now by waiting, because they can't afford to sign Seth Curry in this moment, but with every passing day, the prorated amount that Seth Curry would get when he signs continues to drop, which would give the Warriors a little bit more room up against that hard-capped second apron that they're currently sitting at after they used the mid-level exception to sign Al Horford. That hard capped them at the second apron. They have room to sign Seth Curry now, but every passing day gives them just a little bit more wiggle room for any future moves. That's my read. They're waiting because maybe they want to make another move on top of that. I'm thinking more of a trade as opposed to signing anybody else because they need a little bit more space to sign anybody else, and there's not enough room that they can, cut off the edge of Seth Curry's deal to make that work. That's just my view of the situation. But we'll see. We'll see eventually how this all plays out. I don't think he's in danger of signing elsewhere. I think the Warriors are just playing a numbers game, and unfortunately, Seth Curry is kind of the result that maybe he's just not going to be a Warrior for still a little bit longer. But we shall see. All right. That'll do it for Warriors Wrap-Up. Thank you so much for tuning in. The Warriors knocked off the Pelicans. 104-96 is the final. They're back above 500 at 11-10. We have Niner coverage coming up tomorrow, 10 a.m., 12 hours from right now. Niners kicking off in Cleveland. That means the kickoff show begins at 8 a.m. And guess what? For the first time in weeks, we've got overtime back on these airwaves because there's no Warriors game while the end of the Niner game is going on. So myself, Mark Randy, and Sterling Bennett will be back for overtime reacting to Niners and Browns from Cleveland. Sterling and I will be on the air sometime around 1 o'clock whenever that Niner game ends. Looking forward to it. Until then, my name is Mark Randy signing off. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you tomorrow after Niners and Browns right here on 95.7 The Game.
Are you tired of online threats? Then get an antivirus. It's the only online protection you will ever need.
Just a quick question. Does it encrypt your online traffic the same as NordVPN?
No, but it protects your device. Just pop that CD in and you're good to go.
But it will stop your internet service provider and other snoopers from monitoring you online, right?
Oh, no, not really. It won't stop online snoopers or block annoying ads. In fact, forget what I said at the beginning of this ad. This ad is now about NordVPN. I just realized that an antivirus is only half protection online. So get better online protection with the NordVPN Black Friday deal. It will encrypt your traffic, protect you from malware and phishing, and stop annoying ads. This Black Friday, get NordVPN with 73% off and enjoy 3 extra months. Yeah!
Doors and loading dock equipment are a crucial part of your business, and one you probably don't think much about. Until they break. A broken door or dock leveler can be a real security threat, along with disturbing the flow of goods in your business. Luckily, RNS is here for all your commercial door, dock, and gate needs. From overhead doors and security shutters to fire-rated and personnel doors, RNS can provide your business with safety and security. Call 800-FIX-A-DOOR to schedule a free estimate or visit rsdoors.com. RNS Doors. Look for the red truck.
When you own your own business, you need to keep things moving. Need to book a last-minute flight? Earn a $300 travel credit to cover that. Need to take a meeting before takeoff? Do it from the comfort of the Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club. Need to catch your breath before you board? Done. With $2,500 in annual value, the new Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business is the card that gives back all you put in. Visit chase.com/reserve business to learn more. Cards issued by JPMorgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
The entire Yellowstone series is now available on DVD and Blu-ray. Dive deeper into the Duttons' original story with over 19 hours of bonus content, including behind the scenes and features. For a chance to win a copy courtesy of Map 360 Collective, enter online at 957thegame.com.
Almost every 8 minutes. That's how often Uber received a report of sexual assault or sexual misconduct. And despite over 400,000 reports, Uber turned a blind eye. Instead of protecting women, Uber downplayed the problem, delayed safety measures, and prioritized profit over passenger safety. Now Uber wants to stop Californians from holding them accountable in court. Every 8 minutes, Uber tries to silence victims. Paid for by Habas and Associates.
Are you like everybody else in the world who has no idea what to get everyone for the holidays? Well, you're in luck. We got you. Hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Because with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, you just step into them and they're on. There's no bending down, no touching, no fuss. Plus, Skechers slip-ins come in everyone's favorite styles and colors. And you can get slip-ins everywhere stylish footwear is sold, including a Skechers store. Or if you're too busy to shop in person, just get them online at Skechers.com, Amazon, and more.
Every morning, we rise and shine. Make breakfast,
and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. Multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Oh, hey, welcome to gift wrapping. Whoa, Zoe Saldana.
Hey, can you wrap these, please?
Wow, iPhone 17s. You splurged.
At T-Mobile, you can get 4 iPhone 17s on them. The new center stage front camera is amazing for group selfies. It's the perfect gift for everyone.
I'm the worst. I only got my mom a robe.
Well, it's better than socks.
So I have to trade in my old phone, right?
No, at T-Mobile, there's no trade-ins needed when you switch. Keep your old phone or give it as a gift.
Incredible.
In fact, wrap up my old phone too. For my Aunt Rosa. Forget that. Aunt Liz will be jealous.
Sounds like my family drama.
Oh, I got it. I'll give it to my abuela. I'll take reindeer paper with, hey, where are you going?
To T-Mobile.
The holidays are better at T-Mobile. Get 4 iPhone 17s on us. No trade-in needed when you switch. Plus 4 lines for just $25 a line.
With 24 monthly bill credits and 4 eligible board-ins on essentials for well-qualified customers. Auto pay plus taxes, fees, and $35 device connection charge. Credits end in balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. Finance agreement 256 gigabytes, $830 required. Visit T-Mobile.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-507-9701. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-507-9701. That's 800-507-9701. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The holiday rush starts here at your California Ford dealer.